Hi everyone, this is Adrian at 18 Echo SF. I decided to make a short video today and just kind of give you a heads up on another small item I'm going to add to my project gun, which, as most of you are now aware, is my Kimber Pro Carry, which I'll just fill you in case you haven't seen this before. This is the gun where I changed the internals and took out the captured full-length guide rod and spring to a standard GI style guide rod and spring. And it has the stock spring, and it has currently has a Colt GI style guide rod. And it has worked fabulous. And it's given me the ability to tear the gun down without having to use that ridiculous little L tool that Kimber wants you to use. You have to use it to tear the Pro Carry down. You don't have to use it from the Ultra Carry. You can take that apart without a tool, but on the Pro Carry you cannot. But anyway, so this gun has kind of turned into a little bit of a project for me. You know, it's got different grips from VZ and the internals, and it's worked out real good so far. I've made a few changes to my Colt. These are both commander length guns, and I changed out the trigger on this gun. This was the stock trigger, as you can see, and this trigger is actually a Kimber trigger that's on one of their custom guns, and I was able to get hold of one of those triggers, and I replaced it, and I like the looks of it. The kind of satin silver finish. However, recently I've noticed on both of my guns when I'm shooting, and I have no idea why this would happen at this point in my life and shooting career, because I've been shooting a long time, and I've been shooting 1911s a long time. But for some reason, my index finger is becoming, my shooting finger, it's becoming sore, and so I must be resting it at a certain place on this trigger that's not quite in the middle of the bend. So I started thinking about this, and I'd done some research on the flat triggers. The triggers that they look kind of like this, but they're completely flat, and the flat part is the length of a long trigger, which are both in these pistols. So I'm getting ready to order a flat trigger from Wilson Combat, and I'm going to actually put that trigger in this gun. This is my carry pistol, and I'm going to put it in this gun and try it and see how it works out, and if I like it as much as I think I'm going to, which I have a feeling I'm really going to like it, I'm then actually going to change out this trigger also. I will order another Wilson Combat trigger and replace it on the Colt. And from the research I've done, both 10-8 Performance, who are known for their triggers, and Wilson Combat, the difference between the two, and the reason I've decided on the Wilson trigger, I use replacement Wilson parts on my guns, so I know the quality of them. But the main reason is that the Wilson trigger is pretty much a drop-in. There isn't too much that needs to be fitted with that trigger. The 10-8 Performance trigger, from what I understand, is oversized, and you have to shave it down to make it fit inside the frame. And I just rather would not do that. And so I'm going to try the Wilson trigger first, and I just have a feeling it's going to work out really well. And the advantage, of course, being that with a flat trigger, where this part is, completely flat, your finger will rest, no matter where your finger is on that trigger, it will push it straight back. So if you can imagine the trigger being like this, not resting in this groove, but sitting flush against the trigger. When you push it back, it doesn't matter where your finger rides, because the plane that your finger sits on is just straight up and down. So no matter where you get it, when you push to release the hammer, it shouldn't affect anything and make your finger sore. The interesting part is, in doing some of the research that I did about doing this to my pistol, there are many people that have talked about this exact same issue, the fact that their finger doesn't always wind up resting on the trigger in the exact same spot. And because of that, since it could be up higher, it can rub your finger raw. And that is basically what has been happening with me. And even though, like I said, I've been shooting a long time, I actually started wearing a glove when I was shooting to try to stop that, from my range sessions, But anyway, so I'm going to order the trigger in just a few days. When I get it, I'm not gonna bore you with tearing the gun down. I'll tear the gun down and I'll install the trigger, and then after it's in, I'll put it all back together, and I'll do another video and show you how it looks, either before or after I go to the range to try it. And if I show it to you before I go to the range, after I take it out and shoot it a bit, I'll do a third video to kind of give you a range report to see if it comes out as good as I think it will. So anyway, stay well and safe out there, and I'll see you down the road.